Guys, can we just pause the recording for a second? Just got a call. Oh, sorry. Could I have garlic bread with cheese, please?
Is he doing takeaway? What is going on here?
He's ordering takeaway.
Parmo then, please, in that case.
Traditional Parmo? What are you doing here?
Parmo.
A full Parmo, please.
Trevor just giving away full card details here.
Have you written this down? I'll just have cheese garlic bread, please.
Hello, and welcome to Two Guys One Podcast with me, Matt Shepherd, and Sam Bolton. Hello, Sam.
Now then.
How are you doing?
Not bad, yourself?
I'm doing good, mate. I'm doing good. You know I'm good because we've got a special guest here today. We've got a special guest, and that man is George Only. How are you doing, George?
How you doing, guys? Yeah, I'm pretty good, mate. How's yourself?
Yeah, we're doing good.
The one and
to have you
only.
on the podcast today, the first real special guest.
Much appreciated.
Yeah, so today is Saturday, and Saturday and Sunday is normally associated with sport. So we're going to be talking more about sport on this podcast, and be going over everything that's going to happen this weekend. So, I mean, the first major news, I don't know if you've seen it, but Burns has obviously tested positive for coronavirus, so he's not going to be part of UFC 251 next weekend. Only, you got any thoughts on that?
A shocker, really, mate, isn't it? Big news, big fight, probably the main event, wasn't it? So, I don't know what's going to happen if they're going to have a replacement or not. But I think it's just going to be ruled out.
I really thought he was going to win that, to be honest. He was looking really good. He was really looking really good.
Yeah, I thought he's fought recently as well. He's already fought once during lockdown, so having another fight, he'll be used to the conditions really well. So it'll be an interesting fight, but sadly we'll have to wait to see it further down the line.
It'll be interesting how they find out how he's got that coronavirus, because they must be taking so many safety precautions, MMA fighters nowadays anyway, obviously not having an audience and training by themselves and stuff. So that means someone in their group or in their training sessions has obviously done something he shouldn't have, really. So that'll be interesting to find out how he's got the coronavirus and who off. Do you know what I mean?
He said the cornerman also had it. I think from what I read this morning, the cornerman also tested positive.
So it's his team that's got it.
Yeah, so the cornerman, I don't know which one, but the cornerman tested positive along with Burns, so it's a bit of a big blow for Dana White's plans next weekend, definitely.
Well, it says here on my newsfeed on my computer, Jorge Masvidal and Colby Covington immediately volunteered to face Usman on short notice. So there's two big name fighters who want to fight Usman. Well, obviously, Covington's already faced Usman a while back, and he got knocked out, didn't he? On the fourth round, I think it was. So that'll be a good fight again. But Jorge Masvidal hasn't fought in how long? Is it against Nick Diaz? Was that his last fight?
Yeah, last fight against Nate, yeah.
Nate Diaz, that was it.
Well.
Nate Diaz, yeah.
Yeah,
I would like to see Masvidal. I think that'd be the...
Masvidal definitely deserves it. Definitely deserves the number one contender. But yeah, that's the thing, can UFC afford to pay him so much money in such short notice? He's not even had a training camp, really. So it's like he's got a lot of risk and not much reward if they're not going to pay him a lot of money for this fight.
He's a game-bred fighter, as his name says anyway, so he'll be up for anything.
So with that, a question for both of you. Is Masvidal worth all that money? Is he because obviously I see Masvidal being number 2 to McGregor in terms of being the biggest draw in the UFC right now. Is he worth the second draw?
I think people mainly look at Masvidal for his obviously game-bred fighter, isn't he? He wants to fight everyone. He's from the streets. He knew Kimbo Slice, didn't he? He had a fight in his back garden.
Yeah.
So that's how he is known for fighting. But I think people know him most for that, was it 3-second knockout?
Yeah, Ben Askren, flying knee.
Yeah, that was a flying knee. That was incredible. But then again, that isn't a game plan. He must have, actually, it might have been a game plan, actually, thinking about it, where he knew he was just going to try and take him down. But is his wrestling up to par with everybody else's? That's what I'm thinking.
Who knows, man? Who knows?
It's difficult. What do you think, George? Do you think he's worth all the money that he thinks he is?
I think he definitely deserves a pay increase, because they said they were going to pay him the same money as fighting Nate Diaz. And I think in my eyes it's a more risky fight for him to fight Kamaru Usman, who's a much better fighter than Diaz is at the moment. much.
And on
He's like
short
undefeated
notice.
in the UFC. His record was like 16-1, is it in total? So he's yeah, short notice as well. So the odds are stacked against him here. There's no
Yeah.
way he's going to accept anything less than the Nate Diaz fight, this short notice fight. That's why I believe Colby Covington will probably be on the phone straight away and say if he can get his rematch, why not? Get him straight in the title picture, up his stock straight away, and he's laughing. If he wins the fight, then he's top of the world.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. But I mean, you've got to look from the point of view of Michael Bisping versus Rockhold, where Bisping took the fight on short notice and he won the title, didn't he? So there always is that unpredicted
very true.
fight, isn't there? So it could happen. It's a hard one to call, but we'll look forward to see what happens really, and see if who they're gonna bring in.
Yeah, I'm excited. Hopefully they do bring in a replacement because I think that card would be extra decent with the added in fight.
I think it would have been absolutely brilliant to watch Burns fight.
Definitely intriguing to see who they're going to pick.
Yeah, I do feel a bit sorry for Burns, but it's the way of the UFC, isn't it? It's the way of the world.
Yeah. And obviously the sad news that Khabib's father passed away at the weekend as well. I mean, I don't like Khabib as a fighter. I think I'm not going to say, but I do feel sorry for him because his father's always been there, and he's said numerous times that Khabib's father, he's winning fights for him, isn't he? So it obviously that's some sad news coming out of the UFC this weekend.
Yeah, I'm a big Khabib fan, to be fair. I do like his style. He's a very good wrestler. No one's been able to defeat him yet, so I think his dad was inspirational for fighting as well, so sad to see him go, but I'm sure Khabib will come out stronger on the other side.
With a fighter like Khabib, they're not really, in my eyes, a money-making fight. People want to see knockouts. People want to see people get... They want more boxing than wrestling, in my eyes, unless you're a really hardcore UFC fan who loves martial arts, who understands how good wrestling and how hard wrestling is. I can see why people don't like Khabib because he's all ground, really, isn't he? He is an MMA fighter at the end of the day, so he will be a stand-up fighter as well. But being a person who, like in the McGregor fight, whenever Khabib took Conor down, the crowd went, "Oh, for God's sake, man! Why you keep on taking him down?" Do you know what I mean? It's like it's boring. It is a little bit boring for these the audience, if I'm honest. But having Khabib have such a record, almost Mayweather-like in the MMA world, it's anybody will watch him. To be fair, because they want to see how and if he can keep his record with that 0 in the end.
I think more people want to see him lose. The main aspect of him is who can beat him.
Yeah.
And I don't think anyone at the moment is capable of beating him at 155. I think it's all about who's this new star that's going to beat Khabib. He's almost playing the bad guy. It's like no one can beat him. Who's going to be the new up-and-comer and step up to Khabib's level?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, it's all about judgment with wrestling is you can stop getting taken down, but when you're down, you're screwed, really, aren't you? That's the only thing with a wrestler. But what can you do?
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see who Khabib fights next, and see who wants to take a shot at him. I don't really know who's next for Khabib. It was supposed to be Ferguson, wasn't it?
It's Justin Gaethje, isn't it?
Well.
He beat Ferguson
I
last
don't
fight.
think that'll happen for a long time.
I reckon it'll be September time again. I reckon that'll be the big pay-per-view after DC versus Miocic.
That'll be a good fight, I think.
That'll be that's the third fight they've had, isn't it?
Yeah. Cormier's last fight as well, he said. Retirement fight.
Interesting.
People like Cormier, when you say he's going to retire, you'll probably take his word. Someone like McGregor, we discussed this previously on the podcast. We said McGregor retired, but I didn't really believe him. I think there's too much.
This is the second time he's retired.
He still wants to have one last fight in the UFC.
It's the third time, isn't it?
I don't take anything he says seriously.
No, it's all about money for him. I think it's all about the money. Like I've heard John Jones recently say that he's going to give up his 205 title because he's not getting the money he deserves. Masvidal also came out and said there's no point in me fighting because I'm not getting the money. So I think it's all to do with the UFC not paying the fighters enough money. But then it's due to coronavirus not having the gate receipt. The UFC make hundreds of thousands, if not millions, from the gate for fights. Obviously having no fans in, just losing a lot of revenue.
Not everybody will pay for pay-per-view because they can get it online somewhere, can't they?
Well, it's something like BT Sport. I mean, BT Sport used to offer all the UFC fights for like free, didn't they? But I mean, they've changed it now, so you have to have the pay-per-views you have to pay for, don't you? But I mean, it's still not that bad.
I've just seen McGregor's tweet about Khabib's dad. The loss of a father, a coach, and a dedicated supporter of the sport. Condolences and rest in peace. That's a good gesture, I think. As in the MMA world, enemies can also almost feel something. That sounds a bit stupid, but like
I think McGregor has respect, doesn't he?
Yeah, respect. That's the word I'm looking for. They have respect for each other, and for anybody who's in the MMA world, I know there's a lot of bad blood between the two of them, but yeah,
there's always respect for fighters out there. There's always respect.
Would you want to see George Conor versus Khabib too?
At the moment, I'd rather see McGregor fight someone else. I think have a McGregor fight, maybe a Ferguson, like another number one contenders match. Be better. I'd rather see Gaethje versus Khabib because we've already seen Conor fight and lose. It wasn't the best. It wasn't the brilliant fight everyone was expecting. So I was thinking Gaethje's probably more like he's known as the highlight reel. So I'd rather wait to see Gaethje, see what he can perform against Khabib, and then go from there.
Well, McGregor teased a match with, was it Anderson Silva that he teased a match with?
Yeah, catch rate 176, wasn't it? It's crazy.
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. I don't think that's going to happen at all. But
No.
who knows?
He teased what with Anderson Silva?
A fight with Anderson Silva.
He's too old, Anderson Silva.
Yeah, but big name though, isn't he? Big name. Probably
That'd be a big super fight. That would draw definitely.
And then we've got the featherweight containers, the co-main event on 251 with Volkanovski and Max Holloway. What are we thinking?
Holloway, easy.
Do you think?
You reckon?
I'm not too sure, you know.
Yeah, Holloway. I like him.
You might like him, but Volkanovski only lost once. 21 wins.
I know, but you always like the underdog story. I always like seeing someone who's only lost only one. Like, I like people to see. Like, I want to see Khabib lose because he hasn't lost yet. And that's what I don't like seeing an undefeated fighter.
I think it'll be a close fight. It was very close in the last fight. I had it, I think, 48-47 to Volkanovski, so Holloway can keep going. I reckon it'll be a close fight.
What was who won last time? Like, was it?
Yeah, Volkanovski won.
Volkanov, yeah.
But Holloway was the champion last time and lost his belt.
Yeah, he lost it.
The rematch.
It'll be interesting, to be fair. Obviously, Volkanovski's got a lot of respect for Max Holloway because he was the champion. And Max Holloway's had some career, by the way. He started, 17, 18?
Yeah, man. I heard on a podcast with him on Joe Rogan that he learnt his MMA moves off the UFC game.
That's mad, isn't
Really?
it?
So he was on the game, looking at moves, like playing the game, and was like, "Oh, I'll try and do that in my fights."
So when are you joining the UFC, Shepherd?
Well, 2020 is the year of the podcast. 2021, maybe the MMA world will meet Matthew Shepard, but I highly doubt that. I'd have to be in some shape to be able to do it.
He's got the boxing career done.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that was bad from the start, really, wasn't it?
Yeah. Did anyone see the Poirier versus Hooker fight at the weekend? That was
Ooh,
mental.
Yeah.
that was a brutal fight.
Talked about that
The
in
way
the
they were
podcast,
going in
didn't we?
round two, it was mental.
Yeah, good fighters, both of them. I think he's put respect on Dan Hooker's name now. He's definitely got up in the rankings for 155.
As if it was only a decision, wasn't it? I can't believe that was only a decision.
Did you see after the belt they wanted to do round 6 as well? Like they were staring each other down on that.
They're both machines, man. They're both machines.
What do you think? Only what do you think of Mike Perry and his girl taking the world?
Oh, it's just every cornerman needs to be worried now, because if Mike Perry's girlfriend can do a fight and make him win, what do MMA coaches have now? They're screwed.
Exactly.
But do you necessarily? That is the question. Do you necessarily need someone in your corner to win a fight? Like obviously did he win? He did win, didn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, he won. Yeah, decision.
So do you need someone in your corner to help you win a fight? Like he knew his game plan. It was to go out and bang, wasn't it?
I think you do anyway, because they can see something that you might not see in a fighter. If they've got the left hand low when you strike with the right, then do you know what I mean? They will see that, and maybe you haven't seen that. So more eyes on the fight, more insight of how you can beat them. Do you know what I mean?
That is a good point, to be fair.
I think Mike Perry's a crazy man. He's just crazy.
And Ryan Garcia yesterday, or was it the day before, tweeted saying he wants to fight in MMA and fight Dylan Dennis, or what his name is.
Yeah, Dennis would knock him out, let's be honest.
Knock him out? Professional boxer?
Yeah, but boxing and MMA, it's completely different, isn't it?
I don't think he would knock him out. I think he'd be more MMA style, like takedowns, jiu-jitsu, wrestling.
Death, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I just don't. I don't like the crossover between boxing and MMA. Like, just stay in that. Just stay in.
Ever since McGregor lost.
Yeah, like, he was a bit of a shot. I mean, McGregor did well, didn't he?
10 rounds
he went too high profile.
One of the best boxers in the whole world ever. 10 rounds with him, that's impressive.
I think Mayweather could have ended it sooner, though. But Mayweather knew he needed to put on a show.
Yeah, fair.
I think if Mayweather was, like, properly trying, like, that wouldn't have gone
But
past.
It's quite funny, all these boxers think, oh, yeah, it's not much, yeah. But as soon as they come to the MMA world side of things, we've never had a boxer, like a big boxer like Mayweather or someone with a good social following, anyway, come over to MMA. It's a total different world, isn't it? I mean, I can understand MMA fighters going to boxing because they do that anyway, and it's like stand-up fighting. But if the boxer goes into the MMA world, it's completely different because they need to learn new skills in wrestling and stuff, don't they?
Yeah.
There's been a lot of talk of Francis Ngannou going into boxing now as well. Because he wasn't getting the big fight he needs against Cormier Miocic. He was like, before my career's done, he's going to go into boxing. And he hits hard. He's probably the hardest hitter in the UFC at the moment.
Yeah, but he lost 3 times in a row. What does he expect?
Did he?
Yeah, he lost like 2 or 3 in a row, yeah.
I know, but that's the old Ngannou.
Yeah,
now,
he's only had 2 or 3 fights after that, so it's not like he's on a streak of 7 wins, you know what I mean? I think these fighters are taking, thinking that they are better than what Dana White's think they are. I think Dana White's been doing this such a long time, you can understand when he sees a good fighter who's worth the money. Like Conor McGregor gets people and gets the people watching. But obviously with different fighters like, who was it, Jorge Masvidal, I mean, people get to see him and want to see him, but he hasn't got the same following and stuff as Conor McGregor. Does that make sense? So yeah. he'll bring less people to watch the fight. So understandable that he doesn't get as much money as McGregor. So I think it's understandable. But
just looking at Francis Ngannou's past 4 fights he's won, he's only gone 2 minutes in the UFC in total.
That's quite good actually. That's crazy.
He KO'd Curtis Blades in 45 seconds, knocked out Velasquez in 25, beat Junior Santos in just over a minute, and then went 20 seconds with Rosenstrike.
Yeah, that was a good fight. He literally just went swinging, chin up and everything. He could have got knocked out, but he was just ran straight at him, didn't he? That was crazy.
He's a machine, man.
One big
so
man.
Moving on from the UFC, what do we think about? We covered it like the other day, but we didn't really go into it that much. What do you think about Liverpool winning the league then?
Fair play. I think they deserve it. Winning the Champions League, and then the Premier League, I think they deserved it, yeah.
The only thing is, though, they've all got that asterisk next to their name, is that this year was affected by COVID-19. And
yeah, I
just
think
put a damp on
their
the season, really. Yeah, it's just the asterisk, though, isn't it? It's just the fact that there's always something for the rivals to say against them now, saying, "Oh, but you won during this." It's like,
yeah,
they're going to win anyway.
I don't see why people would say that, because yes, they've won it, but they were going to win the Premier League before COVID hit anyway, weren't they? So
I think a main factor that why they lost against Man City 4-0 the other day is because they'd been drinking for the last week, celebrating.
That's a good point.
Obviously, Mane and Salah, I don't know, they're all Muslim or something, so they can't drink. But the rest of the team, they definitely would have had a couple of beers, wouldn't they? And then the fitness levels would have gone down. They've been like, and maybe Man City wanted it more to show that, whoa, wait a minute, we're still here. You know what I mean? Just because you've won the Premier League this time doesn't mean we're not going away. So that'd be interesting. Do you reckon Pep will stay at Man City?
Yeah, definitely.
I think at least for another year or two. I think he's got 2 years left. Has he 1 year, 2 year left? He's just got a new assistant manager in for a year. I know that. Maybe 2 year contract.
It's difficult. I mean, Pep Guardiola is one of the best managers in the world, isn't he? So,
Yeah.
where he's done the major European teams, where do you go from there? Unless you go to another Premier League team. But I don't really see how he fits in. I mean, Arteta's at Arsenal. Obviously, we'll speak about Arsenal a bit later on. We'll give George a platform to voice his opinion on Arteta and Arsenal. But Chelsea have got Lampard. Arsenal have got Arteta. Spurs have got Mourinho.
He'll fall for money.
I think Lampard's doing mint, by the way. I think he's really fit into Chelsea.
Lampard
However,
is doing mint.
Who?
I said Lampard. Yeah, I agree with you. Lampard is doing mint.
Yeah.
But from the perspective of the players he's got already, he's got a very decent team. He's clearly got a decent team because, from what not Conte, Sarri had.
Well, that team from Sarri now, or from Conte before, has changed a lot. If you look at the two teams there, there's I'll say there's not even 5 players the same from the lineups. And I think especially this year, Chelsea will be looking to buy a left back to get in to replace Alonso. That's another one of Conte's winning season gone. And now they're also bringing in Timo Werner, and they're bringing in Hakim Ziyech as well. I reckon they'll be title contenders this year. Liverpool, City,
Ajax team.
Chelsea, top 3.
Very young team as well, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, Ajax have brought in some of the best youngsters. They always bring up very good young players. You see, De Ligt's gone to Juventus and De Jong at Barcelona.
Chelsea have what it takes though to win the Premier League. I'm just looking at the past 5 to 10 results. Obviously, they lost to West Ham just a couple of days ago, but they beat Leicester, they beat Man City, they thrashed Everton 4-0, beat Liverpool 2-0 in the FA Cup. So they've got what it takes to beat the bigger teams.
What do you think they need to change then?
Consistency, really, isn't it?
What do you think they need to change?
Keeper. Definitely, Kepa needs to go.
I don't like Kepa. I think he's arrogant. He's too arrogant.
Kepa's just not good enough, I think. He's made too many mistakes. He's one of the leading keepers for mistakes leading to goals. I just think if they can find a replacement, get him out for even sell him for half the price. You've got a decent reserve keeper, and just find another number 1.
Interesting.
Yeah, a keeper and maybe. I'm just trying to look at the team. Obviously, they've got Timo Werner for next season. They've got Christian Pulisic. They've got Ziyech. They've still got Willian. They've got Hudson-Odoi.
Is Willian not leaving?
He might be.
I thought Willian was leaving.
They've got Tammy Abraham. They've got Billy Gilmore, who's a good young player. And N'Golo Kante might be leaving. Is he?
I don't think Kante's leaving. I thought he was just. He's got bad asthma as well, so he can't join in because of coronavirus.
But Chelsea's team is literally, just looking through it now, it's a title-winning side.
It's stacked, yeah.
Maybe in terms of defence.
I think they just need to string it all together.
Yeah. Obviously, something's been going missing the past couple of years, but hopefully they can get back to winning the Premier League.
I reckon it's just a mixture of defence and the keeper, really. He had a few injuries to Rudiger at the start of the season, and the defenders coming back were all new and young. So I think having them a season under their belt, going for next year would be a lot better.
Definitely.
What do we think of David Luiz extra contract, Tony?
Shocking, mate. Absolute shambles. It's an absolute joke. We've got William Saliba coming in next year, and we've got Rob Holding, who's probably the next best centre-back. I know he's not playing well at the moment. Not being great, but we have Mustafi, Socrates and David Luiz. They're all absolute jokes. Why are they even at the team? It's shocking. We need some new reinvestment in defence. There's lots of great centre-backs out there, cheap, who are a lot better than them at the moment, and a lot less wages as well. They're all on probably 100 grand plus a week. You can cut those wages in half, even in a third. It's just a madness, mate. I don't get it. Just don't get it.
I think you look at Arsenal as well. Some of their team is decent, but I didn't understand. Is it Cedric Suarez who's on loan from Southampton?
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't. If Cedric Suarez was good enough for Southampton, why wasn't he playing there?
I know, man. It's like we're buying reserve players from teams below us. I need to improve.
That's the one thing I hate about Carlisle when we go for someone worse. Like if we go for a lone player in our division, it just doesn't work out. I mean, Arsenal's defence doesn't, like Kieran Tierney.
He's done well. He's been lucky with injuries this year. He came back and then dislocated his shoulder, so I feel he's going to be a quality player. Still very young, so I reckon he's going to be a good
1-0 up against Norwich at the moment.
Oh, happy days.
I don't really know how the table's looking at the minute.
Norwich are going down anyway.
Yeah, they're not having
I
a
think
good
so
time at all.
So what do we think about like Bournemouth and Eddie Howe? Obviously, that's if Bournemouth
I think
go
he
down
stayed
this
too
year,
long.
do you sack him?
It's hard. I think their investment's been wrong. They've invested in wrong players, and their recruitment needs to go, I think, more than Eddie Howe. Eddie Howe's a good enough manager. It's just the players they've recruited in have just been shocking.
I think Eddie Howe is probably one of the best managers. I mean, he's took Bournemouth from League 2 all the way up to the Premiership, which is pretty good. I mean,
but then is there a point in the time where you can't go further than you can? Then they've already been. Do you know what I mean? Is he met his match? Do you think?
No, I think Bournemouth can go further than what they have. I would say if Bournemouth have the right pieces together, they can be a top 10 team.
Need better recruitment, I believe.
Possibly
They've not got the money.
Europa.
They've not got the money to contend with the likes of Wolves, and if you even look at Leicester now, they're always up there. And if you think Arsenal and Tottenham are in 8th and 9th, like how Bournemouth going to crack into that top 10?
Yeah. Leicester spent big this year, didn't they? Signed some big players.
They spent a lot of money. I don't think they spent the money too wisely on players. They obviously sold Harry Maguire, which brings in a lot of money. Was it 80 million to United?
80 mil, yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy, but
and
I think spending
clauses in there as well, surely.
Spending 40 million on Jose Perez, that's not smart business to me.
Yeah, I think transfers these days are inflated so much. Like Maguire is not worth 80 million, isn't he? Let's be honest. There's no way.
I can't believe United can pay 80 million for Maguire, but then they're looking at Sancho. Oh, we don't want to pay more than 50.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. That.
Are they not right in the head?
I mean, Sancho would be over 100 million easily.
Yeah. I don't think he's going to move.
I think it's just Sancho.
Yeah, but I don't think anybody's really got the money to pay for a youngster who may or may not be world class at any time soon.
Chelsea were Chelsea looking at Sancho as well, and Chelsea and Man U.
They were, yeah.
Obviously, Sané's gone to Bayern Munich this week, which is Bayern Munich's team is easily just going to be one of the best for the next 3 to 5 years. The talent they've got, they should be winning Champions League back to back at this rate.
Didn't Sané win Young Player of the Year as well for getting over 25 goal contributions? I mean, he's a top player before his injury. So I'd like to see how he goes after that.
He is rapid.
Yeah, very good player.
Bayern Munich's team. I know Bayern have quite a lot of old players, don't they? But I mean, in terms of experience, yeah, that helps massively. Yeah, they've got so next season they'll have Leroy Sané, obviously Lewandowski, best striker in the world.
Isn't Thiago moving or doing something?
There's been a lot of rumours around him recently, haven't they?
Yeah.
Going to Liverpool's been a big one.
I can't remember what I saw or read, but I thought it was something to do with him.
Yeah, they're offering like a 30 to 40 million pound move for Thiago to Liverpool, but I don't know. There's been a lot of rumours saying he's agreed terms and agreeing a fee, or he's not actually gone. So it's just up in the air at the moment.
So if you look at Liverpool, do you if you're Klopp even, do you invest next season into some of the players? Like, who do Liverpool need to keep going?
You've got to invest in youngsters, I believe. Yeah,
up top, I don't think you need to change anything because absolutely the world class, aren't they? The three at the top, Firmino, Salah, and Mane, absolutely. Can you put anybody else up there? Do you know what I mean? That could maybe. I mean, look at Shaqiri. He's been in and out of injury, but he's leaving, hasn't he? He's left or something.
I forgot Shaqiri was at Liverpool, to be honest.
Exactly. Exactly. They don't need him. They don't need anybody like that. But
it's more for backup, isn't it?
Yeah, they just need backup.
I think the problem for Liverpool is that they play so many games. This year they've had Club World Cup, the Club World Cup. They've had Champions League, FA Cup, Carabao Cup, and the Premiership. So it's like how to manage that effectively.
That's the thing. I don't think their reserve players are as good as other teams' reserve players. When you look at City, they've got Aguero up front and Gabriel Jesus behind. But you look at Liverpool, they've got Firmino, and then it's like Origi maybe who's the backup. And they've got Minamino in, but they're still like a few seasons behind, I believe, for their squad rotation to be as best as it can be.
Yeah, they've got some decent backups. I mean, if you look at Oxlade-Chamberlain, he's always has some injury problems. They have got some decent youngsters in that Harvey Elliott and the Curtis Jones.
Yeah,
they're pretty decent. But I think they need to just invest more into the second team really to squad manage effectively.
I've got a feeling City will win next year.
You think?
I think it'll be a close one next year.
I think they're gonna change a fair bit. City, like Mendy. What the hell is he? What's wrong with him? He's got 3 legs. And he just kicks wherever and just misses. He's a joke in Mendy. I'm not too sure what people saw in him. But he's not very good at City. But I've got a feeling City will win it next year.
So George, if you had to say top 4 for next season, who would you go for?
4th place, I have to say United. Even though it pains me to say that, but United have looked very good with Pogba, Bruno Fernandes, and their young strikers up top. So I reckon they'll probably come 4th. They'll be pushing 3rd. I reckon it just depends if Pogba's going to stay or leave. Who knows what's going to happen there, and who they invest in as well. Because they've had a very good defence this year. I think they've had the 3rd best defence in the league behind, or maybe 4th best defence in the league behind Leicester, Liverpool, and Sheffield United. They've been doing very well this year, defensively wise. But I reckon they'll probably come 4th. And you've obviously got City, Chelsea, and Liverpool will be the top 3. I'm not too sure what in the order. Liverpool played very well this year, only lost once, or lost twice now.
Go on, pick an order.
Oh gosh, right. I'm gonna have to say Chelsea 3rd, because I don't think their defence is going to do as well if they keep Kepa. Depends on investment, but current team now, I'm going to say Chelsea 3rd. I'm going to go Liverpool 2nd, and then City 1st. I just think Liverpool have almost run out of steam. They've been pushed so hard this year, and it's going to be a quick turnaround before the next start of the season. I just think it's going to catch up with them, and teams are going to find them out as the season goes along.
Okay.
Shepherd, what are yours? Have you got top 4?
Yeah, difficult, isn't it? I think May have overlooked Leicester, but I don't think they need to spend big to keep up with the big 4. Really, obviously the 3rd at the minute. So my top 4 for next season is City winning the league, Liverpool coming 2nd, Chelsea coming 3rd, and United coming 4th. I think United have got a good. I think United are starting to understand, and I think under 5 years United will be back to winning titles.
So you're just copying Olney, really, aren't you?
Yeah, basically.
I'm just a mastermind, mate. I'm just a mastermind.
Yeah.
The one and only.
I think Toonami's going to come 1, and then we've got.
Well,
I don't know. I definitely think City's going to win. I'm not too sure if Leicester actually might come 2nd and then Liverpool.
Leicester.
Yeah,
they've looked so shaky after this break.
I think it's
but they're all at the very start of the season. They're absolutely class.
I just think they're going to drop off now. Like, they haven't got a replacement for Vardy, and he's 33 now. Maybe he's getting old, especially for next year.
And they've got Iheanacho, is he called?
Yeah, he's not as clinical as Vardy at the moment. Vardy's still scoring like the majority of their goals. I know they've got Maddison in, but I still feel like they need another big player in the team.
Yeah.
Well, they're going to keep the top 4.
Do you think Grealish will move anywhere?
If Villa go down, yeah, I agree there. United
Where could
probably
you
will
see
get...
him? What, Man United?
Yeah, Man United.
I think they'll probably move on, maybe Fred or Matic this year. I think they'll just play McTominay holding or Fred holding, and then you can have Bruno Fernandes, Pogba, and Grealish as 2 in midfield there, and have 1 rotation.
Yeah, I would say you definitely if you're Man United, you look at buying Jack Grealish in the summer. If Aston Villa go down,
yeah,
I can't really see any other team. I can't see like the only team I can really see Grealish going to is either Man United or possibly Spurs. I don't really think Arsenal need him,
Arsenal need anyone.
Well, Arsenal just need a whole new squad. Apart from
Yeah, absolutely shocking.
They need a haircut with David Luiz as well.
Speaking about Arsenal again only, do you think they made the right decisions bringing Arteta in as manager?
At the time, probably, yeah. I feel like he's got good experience under Pep as a number two. He's come back in to revitalise the culture of Arsenal, so I reckon it's just similar to like having Lampard at Chelsea. Just give him like a year or two. This is only like he's only had half a season, and half of it was taken out by obviously the off season of COVID. But just got to give him time. Full first season next year. We'll see what he can do. But the squad's so much worse than Chelsea's team or like United's team. It's so poor.
I don't understand how Arsenal if you look at Arsenal now sat in 8th, I don't understand how they've gone. Like, personally for me, I think Wenger is probably all the Arsenal fans used to moan on about Wenger, but Arsenal were never 8th, were they? In that, at least he got the top 4 every year, or most years anyway.
I think it's similar to United under Sir Alex. He had such a poor team but made the best out of it. And with Arsenal, Wenger did the same. Had a very poor team, made the best out of it. And then top players kept going. We never really replaced them. I know we've got Aubameyang and Lacazette in, but Aubameyang scored most of our goals, and he's like 31, 32. He's only got a year left in his deal unless he signed a new contract soon. I reckon he'll probably be moved on, if not gone a free next year.
Here's a little question for you two. How do you see this table ending? Obviously, we've got Liverpool top. Well, how would you see is Wolves going to make top 5? Sheffield United.
Yeah.
What's going to happen there?
I think United are going to get top 4. And
I reckon it's close.
I think United are going to get top 4. I think they'll do. Yeah, I'm going to put it out there. I'm going to say United will get top 4. Chelsea will finish 5th, and Wolves will finish 6th.
It's close, mate. It's close. Looking at the games, Leicester on 55, Chelsea 54.
Do you reckon Leicester will stay
52.
3rd though?
That's what I'm thinking. They've had a poor run. They've drawn 2 and lost 1 of the last 3 games. So you never know, really.
Yeah.
Wolves are on form, to be fair.
I think Wolves and Sheffield United are doing outstanding this season. I mean, Burnley as well. Burnley are 10th. They're
done well.
They're on the same points as Spurs, so they could finish.
Yeah, they're only a point behind Arsenal and 2 points behind Sheffield United.
When they say the Premier League is the most competition out in the whole world, it's true, isn't it? Because getting top 10 in the Premier League is a struggle.
Yeah, you need a system.
I think for me the best for competitiveness anyway, I think it's the Championship. It always goes down to the last couple of weeks of the season. Obviously at the minute Leeds are leading the way, winning it number 1 in the Championship. West Brom are 2nd, 1 point behind Leeds, then Forest 3rd. I'd quite like to see Leeds go up and see how they do in the Premiership next season. Be an interesting thing to see, I reckon.
The big match as well. People want to watch Leeds because they're in the Premier League before, and I think they're a big name still in the Premier League. I reckon it'd bring eyes to Leeds.
Definitely, I think Leeds versus the big teams next year will be a good game to watch. I think just the way Bielsa
Yep.
has his style of football.
Barca style of play. Then you've got Stoke City at the bottom. Lovely stuff. Jesus.
No, Wigan have gone into administration, haven't they? So they're apparently going to get a 12-point deduction.
See, I think Wigan. So the way it's going to work, from what I understand, is that Wigan will have the 12-point deduction if they go if they're not safe. I don't really know. Wigan will get the 12 points deducted after the season's ended. So their priority at the minute now will just have to be winning games left, right, and centre. So the season they're on 50 points. Luton's on 40. So Wigan would be on 38 if the season ended today, and they'd be relegated.
Yeah.
But I think Wigan probably have enough to stay up.
On a good run at the moment too.
Yeah. I think Stoke are in trouble. I think Luton Town are going to stay up though. I think Luton Town will stay up.
They've got some good games. They've got a lot of bottom teams at the moment. So if Luton, the mighty Luton Town, can continue, they drew with Leeds as well the last game. Yeah. It just depends if they can keep on their good run. I mean, Luton never draw. They've drawn 7 games. They either win or lose. At the moment, they're mainly losing, but hopefully they continue their run.
What do we think about Borough and Neil Warnock? Do we think Borough have got enough to stay up now with Neil Warnock?
I'm not sure it's close.
Guys, can we just pause the recording for a second? I just got a call. Oh, sorry. Could I have garlic bread with cheese, please?
Is he doing takeaway? What is going on here?
It's
Oh, okay.
ordering
Can I just have a traditional
takeaway.
Parmo then, please, in that case?
Traditional Parmo? What are you doing here?
Parmo.
A full Parmo, please.
Should we just give away full card details here?
Have you written this down?
I've recorded it, so I'm alright.
I'll just have cheese garlic bread, please. That's funny, that. Anyway, what was the question we were on?
Cricket and
cricket, that was it, yeah.
Sorry,
Cricket.
right, okay, only continue, son.
Yeah, so they said that they've come to an agreement now with Boris and the
Are you
government.
getting chips? Sorry.
Yes, I'm getting chips.
Yeah, carry on, sorry.
Better be getting a salad, Shepherd.
Yes.
So yeah, they've come to an agreement now, the ECB, with the government to say that cricket's going to start. We've spoken to the league we're in, and they said it's going to be the 18th of July kick-off weekend. It gives the club a few weeks to turn around, get some training in. So next week will be a lot of training and stuff, like almost like another pre-season, even though it's halfway through the year, and then starting on the 18th really. I don't think it's going to be promotion and relegation. It's going to be more like a cup competition. Because obviously we don't have much long left. I think we've got the rest of July, so like 2 more weekends, all of August, and then we're going to play through halfway through September. Normally the weather's been decent in September, so probably play as long as we can there, and then have to end the season shortly after that.
I saw on the news that they said one of the reasons cricket wasn't playing because of coronavirus is not because of the whole. Because obviously it's all social distance because you're fielding, aren't you? And you're batting. You're not exactly touch. It's not a touch sport, is it?
No.
The ball that will contain like it's like a spread, like a catalyst.
I understand that.
Why don't they just wear gloves?
I guess wearing gloves is hard for cricket. Obviously, the wicketkeeper does wear gloves, and I've seen some people who do wear gloves in the field because they may have like a skin condition, or they may just wear gloves. So it's interesting to see what will happen. I don't know the full restrictions and rules that are coming out soon, so I think there's going to be a full guide on how to play cricket securely under this climate. So we'll have to wait and see.
You've got football who also use the hands for the ball when they're throwing in, picking the ball up.
Yeah, exactly,
free
man.
Kick. I don't really see the difference, to be honest.
Especially celebrations. Like in football celebrations now, you see everyone still jumping on each other, high-fiving, hugging together. In cricket, we still do that in a different way, but I guess we can always do like the elbow bump sort of thing when we're celebrating. So I just don't understand why it's not being credited as a similar sport.
So
Yeah.
people can be able to go and watch. Obviously, it's for Rockcliffe. You play for Rockcliffe, don't you, George?
Yeah.
So is anyone going to be able to allow to go and watch that because it's an outdoor?
This is also what I'm not too sure about because of the guidelines. They're going to try and restrict like public meetings and public gatherings. I feel like it's not going to be allowed for fans and such to go down to the ground to watch. Even if though, because the grounds are huge compared to like you're watching a football game, everyone's lined up on the side. Cricket pitch is a massive arena sort of thing to watch and play. So people could I guess come down and watch on their own, sit in their own like social bubble and watch the game. Just not go into where the cricket is gathering. So we'll just have to wait and see what comes out with the guidelines from the ECB and such. So it's waiting for time will tell. I'll let you all guys know.
Lovely, because even if it's just like going and watch a game of cricket, that'd just be decent to do on a Saturday, just to go out and just sit on a deck chair or something, and
enjoy the nice weather, man.
Drinks for the boys. Anyway, speaking of drinks, the pubs are open now, aren't they? But what interesting thing about sports and pubs, the Wetherspoons pubs aren't allowed to show any sport because of coronavirus on the telly.
Right.
Interesting fact.
Did they ever show any sport in the pubs?
It's Freeview, so if it's on BBC One or something, if it's the FA Cup sort of thing. But they're not allowed to show anything but the news now. So that's quite interesting how they're going to separate. I think it's because big groups of lads will come in and sit next to a table near the TV. Do you know what I mean? So everybody's a bit like claustrophobic, it's a bit like close together rather than social distance. So that's an interesting thing.
Is that happening in all pubs?
Yeah, I don't know if it's all pubs. I think it's Wetherspoons.
I think you'd be up to your pub's discretion, won't it? I mean, if you're going to advertise outside your pub or free football's on at 5
Sky
o'clock
Sports
today,
stuff.
go and have a pint.
Yeah.
Like, obviously that's going to bring people in. But pubs do need to bring people in to keep them open. Like, it's going to be a difficult time, I think. I mean, Spoon's probably be okay because it's such a massive organisation, but compared to like local pubs,
They've also boosted the prices of everything by like 10 or 15, 20 pence. So everything. So if you say 1 million pints have been sold, then that's an extra 100 grand or something like that, isn't it?
Yeah. I guess they've had a lot of waste over the coronavirus period, not a lot of sales going on. So trying to regain those sales over a shorter period, probably the prices going up is beneficial.
Yeah. Right. So in the final section of this podcast, I want to talk about predictions. So obviously we've done a little bit of predictions on our Premier League title winners and the top 4. So we've got Shepherd and Olney got the same. What was it? It was what was it again, guys? Was it
United, Chelsea, Liverpool, City?
So that was top 4. Mine, I'm going to go for Man City winning. Maybe I'd say Liverpool second, Leicester third, and Chelsea or Man United fourth. Man United fourth. And then I want Chelsea a prediction, guys, on UFC 251 right now, and then we'll do another one next week as well. But I want some predictions for that if you've got any. I think we can't obviously do the Usman fight and the Burns fight because we don't know who they're fighting. I think Volkanovski's going to win again against Holloway. I think he's going to beat him. I've also got Jan is a brilliant fighter. Aldo, that one's a tricky one for me. I think Aldo's got the heart of a lion, but I think Jan's it's just too good for him, to be honest. He's young, he's hungry.
To see Aldo win.
I like to see Aldo win because he's a Hall of Famer, isn't he? But Jan for me is going to win, and I think we'll just do the top. We'll do the women's strawweight as well. So we got Jessica Andrade, and then we got Rose. I can never say her name. What was it? Namajunas or something.
Namajunas, something like that.
Yeah, she got knocked out last time, didn't she? She got she got picked up and thrown by. Was it the same girl, Jessica?
Yeah, that was the last fight. Yeah.
Yeah, so she got picked up and thrown on the floor, which is really interesting. So if the fight goes the same way as before, I think Jessica's going to knock her out. So that's my prediction. Jessica, Jan, and Volkanovski.
I'll go for Holloway, Aldo, Jessica Andrade, and then I'm going to go for Amanda.
Are you doing that one as well? Interesting.
It's just the ones that are on Google, so.
That's the main card. So I'm going to say Volkanovski for the Holloway fight, just because I think he's 21-1. He's just a more persistent fighter. I don't think Holloway's got a game plan for him, especially during lockdown. He said in an interview recently, Holloway, that he sparred over FaceTime and Zoom because he didn't have any partners. So he was training over Zoom and stuff. So I don't know how that's going to happen. Don't know what's going to affect his performance. Little man Peter Yan, he's got such a small reach, but I just think his decimation of past opponents, and Aldo, he did lose his last 2 fights, to be fair. But lots of people said he beat Marlon Moraes. Lots of people said he didn't, so be a close fight, but I do have Peter Yan winning that one, I'm afraid. Either by knockout or going the rounds. Women's strawweight, Jessica Andrade did lose to Wei Li, the Chinese strawweight champion. I think it was a first round KO as well. So I don't know how Jessica Andrade will react to that, but I do have Rose Namajunas winning this fight. I think redemption is going to kick in. She's not going to make the same mistakes as her last fight with Jessica. I'm just going to pick up the win here. And then Amanda Ribas versus Paige Van Zandt. Paige has got a dodgy record, really. I think it's 2-3 in the UFC. So I do have Amanda Ribas winning that fight as well.
Okay. So what we're going to do about these predictions is, for everyone you got right for the UFC, we'll do anyway. We'll forget about the Premier League for now, because obviously that's next year. But for the UFC, for the episode next week, we're going to talk about it again, and then the week after that, we'll then discuss the winners, and we'll give a point for if you've got the right prediction. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So the person with the most points, let's say by Christmas, will get a pat on the back.
Oh, I'll give myself one now.
Bottle of
No,
champagne. I'm calling it.
They'll
That's
have
what
the
it'll be.
pride. They'll have the pride of winning. There we go.
Bottle of
How about
champagne,
that?
some smoked salmon. There you go. Merry Christmas.
That's the most middle class thing I think you've ever said.
Smoked salmon and bottle of champagne. Get them open.
Bottle of champers for the lads.
Champers. But yeah,
Champers.
if you did enjoy this podcast, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel. Check out George Olney on Twitch.
Twitch.tv
Only. Just Olney, isn't it? Yeah.
Yep,
So I'll put that
Twitch.tv/Olney.
link in the description. So go check him out, follow him. He's what you're trying to get to 50 followers by. Has he
50
got
followers to get
timestamp?
affiliate. Just as soon as possible, to be fair. Just come drop us
Soon
a
as
follow.
possible.
Now, do it.
Yeah. By the time
do
the
it now.
video's live, let's get it to 50 followers.
So yeah, if you did enjoy this video, please like and subscribe. Follow our Instagram. Send us some questions because we're doing another Q&A type podcast in the upcoming week, and we will see you in the next podcast. See you later.
Goodbye, everyone.
Thanks for having me.